Hi, and welcome to Pennsylvania Newsmakers, and thanks for watching. Well, winter is coming. Energy prices, are they up or down? We're going to give you a clue in a few moments, and then our popular financial literacy update after these words.
This is Pennsylvania Newsmakers, a fast-paced, unrehearsed weekly discussion with and about the leaders who shape your world. And now, here's your host.
Hi, welcome back to Pennsylvania Newsmakers. Well, joining me as often is the case is Mike Love. He's the president of the Energy Association of Pennsylvania and someone we consult on questions of energy. All right, Mike, let's get to it. Boy, we have had, I think, for many consumers, a pretty tough year. Obviously, President Bush thinks it's real tough because, the Republicans are going to find, that's an issue that I think is not going to work well for them politically. But let's forget about the politics of it for a moment and talk a bit about energy prices and look into your crystal ball. Energy prices seem to be coming down. Gas prices seem to be coming down. Let's talk about that specifically. What's in your crystal ball, particularly about natural gas and electricity prices going into this winter?
Well, the good news is that natural gas prices are coming down and are probably going to be 5 to 10, maybe even 15% lower than they were last winter. Mm-hmm. And there are a number of factors for that, but probably the weather is a key. The drop we've seen in the price of oil is also a key.
You think that's long-term, or is this just short-term?
I think that any reduction in price, gas or oil, has to be assumed to be temporary. And we cannot take our eye off the ball at all. Mm-hmm. We need to get off our reliance on foreign oil.
Yeah. Well, boy, do we, if anyone doesn't agree with that, they're on Mars. I mean, they're not on this planet.
Well, but the danger is, Terry, is that people have been doing themselves a favor by conserving. They've been cutting back. They've been changing their vehicle choices. And if we get complacent, as we have done regularly,
so the price will come down a little bit, and then we say, okay, the crisis is over, or at least in the pocketbook it's not as bad, so back to gas guzzling.
And that will send prices back up.
Yeah.
And what I'm concerned about is, we have programs in the state about hybrid vehicles. We have programs about using ethanol, substituting for some of the gasoline. We're not going to win this war, if you will, on energy easily. We're going to have to do it in little bits and pieces. And it's critical we do that, and we can't get complacent.
Right. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, should I believe the Farmer's Almanac? Should I believe that? I mean, every year about this time on television and radio, people start referring to the Farmer's Almanac, and it says a cold winter or warm winter. I don't know. But regardless of whether we're going to have a cold winter or not so cold winter, whatever that means, we're going to have a situation in which there are people who are going to need help.
Yes, there is. And the report there is not as good as the price report.
You ducked this Farmer's Almanac question.
Well, I'm sorry. You're right. The Farmer's Almanac.
Believe it?
I believe it this year.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Oh, I love this. Okay, I like that. That's good.
I like the fact that they've been right more than they've been wrong, and maybe that's because they can flip the coin better. I don't know. But what I do know is that we've been lucky. We've been blessed for a number of years having warm winters.
Right.
And we're due. Anyone that's been around here knows that we don't get that break for long. And what I'm worried about is we're going into the winter season, and the federal government and Congress have cut back their federal funds after giving a record number of federal funds last year. And the state, which for the first time gave state supplemental LIHEAP last year.
And we talked about that. You came in and talked about that.
And that was a wonderful gesture by the legislature and the governor working together, helping people out. And all of a sudden, that disappears from the budget. So what I'm concerned about is there's going to be 100,000 households out there this winter that are not going to get help that got help last winter. And not only aren't they going to get grants, they're not going to get the same amount of dollars they got.
I got it. All right, when we come back, we're talking with Mike Love, the president of the Energy Association of Pennsylvania. We're going to continue this discussion and see what happens and get his estimation about whether he thinks Pennsylvania will continue to play a role in providing funds for heating assistance for the needy. We'll be back after these words.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is presented by Pennsylvania Medical Society. Doctors and patients, preserve the relationship. And by the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association. Business in Pennsylvania is our business.
Hi, welcome back. We're talking about energy and particularly what might happen with natural gas and electric prices. Are they going up? Are they going down? We just heard Mike Love from the Energy Association of Pennsylvania weigh in on this. Let me ask you a little bit. I mean, we're going to stay on this question of gas and electric and the energy needs, particularly for the needy, and the fact that the state was participating. What's your best guess? Now, the legislature will come back. Is this a dead issue, or do you think there's the prospect that the state can supply money and talk about the eligibility, who's eligible and who isn't?
I said before we went to break, a concern of mine is that not only are we cutting back on the amount of people we're helping, we're also reducing the amount of people that are eligible, and we're reducing the number of people that the dollars they get. And
so
that's
is this a thing where they go from $600 in assistance to $300?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. They could go from $600 that they were getting last year to $300 or less. And that's a frightening situation. It's also frightening that they're lowering the federal poverty level from 150 to 135 at the time that our adjoining states, New Jersey and Ohio, are upping it to 175.
I mean, do you have any sense about why this is being done? I mean, last year the governor and others went around touting the fact that they were, participating and adding to the LIHEAP monies. Do you have any sense about why this is occurring?
No.
Is it money? The state had an $800 million surplus.
I don't understand it, given the fact that this was a bipartisan effort. It was done because people were very concerned about the fact that prices are going way up. But this is what I was talking about earlier, about the complacency that sits in. Is all of a sudden some people are having a struggle. And we need to help them. Other people need to sit back and conserve and take steps. But just because things aren't as bad as they were last winter is no reason to step away.
And ultimately, we don't know for sure what this winter will be like. We have no clue.
Well, I guess if you're not willing to believe the Farmer's Almanac.
I don't know what to believe, but I know that it's unpredictable. I mean, look at gas prices. Now they're dropping, and now we hear lots of talk. Well, we have these new discovery of oil deposits in the Gulf, and something like an amount equal to 50% of the reserve we now have. Is this going to bring prices down, or what do you think?
Well, I think that will be one effort to bring prices down. Yes, that's a good thing. And we talked about anything we can do to bring supply and demand into balance, and that means both things. It means finding new supply, and it means diversifying that supply, but it also means cutting back on demand. We're still not out of imbalance with supply and demand, and you have to take into account the foreign influence and what that means in this country.
Well, for our national security, I mean, we can divide that pie into another number of slices. I mean, one slice, it seems to me, is that we've got to find ways, as you keep talking about, alternative energy, conserve, find new energy sources. I mean, I don't know why we can't reach some agreement in Congress over that. We did pass an energy bill a couple years ago, and it still leaves some pretty big questions about where we can go to find new energy sources off the table because they were not part of that bill. But we also have the national security problem of having to rely on places like Saudi Arabia, Venezuela. I've just cited, if I'm correct, 2 of the principal places we get our oil from, correct?
That's correct.
So your point is that there's not one road to go down. There's no panacea in one road. We have to pursue a multi-phased plan to emerge out of this heavy reliance on imported oil, and also to do it in a way that, you know, brings prices down and that doesn't hurt the average consumer.
That's right. And I guess what we have to realize is there's going to be no one single bullet.
Yep.
We're going to have to do this in steps. Ethanol helps. It does not solve the entire problem. Alternative energy helps, but we're still going to have to build base load generation units.
Right.
We could start drilling in Lake Erie, for example. The Canadians have been drilling for natural gas in Lake Erie for 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that the border between the two countries changes that much.
Right.
We have it on our side. We've never taken advantage of it. That, to me, is ridiculous. That would mean jobs for Erie.
Right. Okay, as always, thanks for the great update. Coming up, our popular financial literacy update. We're going to talk about something that I think everybody who has money these days, if you have money, what to do with it, and how to protect your credit when you have money. We'll be back after these words.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is presented by the Pennsylvania Credit Union Association. Pennsylvania Credit Unions, where people are worth more than money. And by the Energy Association of Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania's energy information source. This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is presented by the State System of Higher Education, 14 state-owned universities. The state system is the largest provider of higher education in Pennsylvania, and by the Hospital and Health System Association of Pennsylvania, working towards a healthy Pennsylvania.
Hi, welcome back to Pennsylvania Newsmakers. Well, it's our time for our popular monthly financial literacy update. Mike, did I get that right?
That's correct.
Joining me